In other news, in the central Okanagan, the threat of widespread flooding is far from over. High stream flow advisories may have been lifted in the area, but residents are being told to remain diligent and leave sandbags in place. Our reporter R Daya is on the Okanagan Lake right now. Ramina, tell us about what officials are saying and what they're particularly concerned about there.
Well, Sonia, all lakes actually in the area are rising right now. Okanagan Lake in particular is rising by about 5 centimeters a day. We have spoken to so many residents who have lived here for decades who are telling us that they have never seen the water this high in May. If you take a look at the iconic beach here in the park in Kelowna, 5 meters of this beach is underwater tonight. And while the day was stunning, the sun was shining, emergency officials are telling us that this flood threat is not over. Wayne Fipke is fighting water with water.
You know, it's fantastic. The waves can hit it and, you know, they won't splash over.
The Fipkes rented their own portable water dam to protect their home on Okanagan Lake. The rubber tube, equivalent to more than 7,000 sandbags, their only defense.
We don't have insurance for certain types of flood damage. We can't get it.
Despite warnings, there's still the potential for epic flooding not seen in 200 years. Many residents are just not worried.
Yeah, I think it's all good.
Yeah?
This will blow over, it'll be fine.
Said the worst is yet to come.
I thought that was this past weekend.
What is the biggest threat right now?
I think it's complacency. When you take a look at today's weather, it's a beautiful Okanagan weekend, but there still remains the danger for flooding, and people need to remain vigilant.
BC wildfire crews continue to crank out sandbags. Emergency officials still urging residents to fortify their homes. How many sandbags are they pumping out?
Roughly about 1,000 to 1,500 an hour.
It's quite sad that they have so many sandbags. I've never seen it like this before, those.
Fipke says he's done everything to prepare for the worst. He just hopes it's enough. Now, about 400 evacuation orders still remain in effect tonight, Sonia, in the Lake Country area. And while no significant rain is expected to fall overnight, storms are still moving through the area. So the risk is still there. Sonia.
Ramina, thank you so much for the latest update there. Ramina Daya reporting from the Okanagan Lake.
Now, much of Kelowna's downtown core is at risk of flooding from Mission and Mill Creeks. Take a look at the city's floodplain map. You can see the path where flooding is expected to be significant. A big part of the problem is the melting snowpack filtering into the waterways. Our Ramina Daya is knee-deep in snow on Big White tonight. And Ramina, it didn't take long for you to reach that spot.
No, it didn't, Sophie. We're only at the base here, and I'm 3 feet deep in snow. So you can imagine what it's like at higher elevations. The big fear now is that if heavy rain hits this area, it's going to melt this snow, and there is nowhere for the water to go. Mountain runoff feeding raging creeks. Most reservoirs, dams, and lakes in the Kelowna area at capacity.
This is the most snow, to my knowledge, that we've gotten in 27 years that I've been in Kelowna area.
The rising snow line, a monster threat, now at 3,000 meters.
You can imagine if you have a high melt with warm rain, it just makes a bad situation worse.
Mission Creek, a colossal concern. If it breaches its banks, the first community in its path, Joe Rich, just east of Kelowna.
It was about a foot higher a day or two ago. But it'll go way up yet. It'll go, as I say, right up over the bank.
The ground already so saturated here, it cannot swallow any more water. Several landslides have already hit, wiping out roads and a bridge.
It's kind of worrisome, but been up a few nights just watching everything.
What's your biggest fear?
Well, I got a bunch of cabins up the creek here, and I don't want them to get washed away. So I got to make sure the creek stays where it belongs.
When the ground is saturated, it's going to move. So we've seen lots of localized landslides, thank goodness, and so far not in places that have caused us grave concern.
Now, emergency officials describe the weather right now as complex and unpredictable. They have no idea what's going to happen. over here, we see the clouds rolling through. You can hear the thunder for the past 2 hours, but it's sunny out. There's no rain. Now, storms are going to roll through all the way until Sunday. The question is where those storms are going to drop rain. Sophie, Chris.
I think we have someone who might have some answers for that, Ramina. Thank you.